What is up, everybody? JT Dangerous here once again. I am back for my Week 2 NFL predictions. Now, Week 1 just ended with the Los Angeles Rams defeating the Oakland Raiders tonight on Monday Night Football. So now we're into Week 2 of the NFL season. So I'm very excited to do these predictions for you guys, and I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, our record coming into Week 2 after a very bad Week 1 for us, we went 6-9-1. So starting off the season with a losing record is very new to me. So I definitely got humbled in Week 1, but once again, it's only Week 1. There's always room for improvement. So hopefully in this video we will get back on the winning track and end this losing streak. Hopefully. Now, if you have not checked out my other 4 videos that I put up on the channel today, definitely go check them out. This is the 5th and final video of the day. So hopefully you guys will be able to watch all 5 of my videos. As always, show your support by watching the video, super kicking that like button, and commenting your picks, your opinions, and representing your team in the comment section down below. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel, as a first time viewer, and this is your first video, boy, you to go in if you're a huge NFL fan like myself and you're ready for Week 2. Welcome to the Dangerous Lions. I am JT Dangerously. Welcome to the club, because this club is just to... Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into these predictions. Starting off on Thursday Night Football in an AFC North showdown featuring the Baltimore Ravens heading to Cincinnati to face the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, we all know what happened last year on the final day of the regular season when Cincinnati denied Baltimore a shot in the playoffs and helped the Bills make it to the playoffs for the first time since 1999. So this Baltimore team is looking for some revenge. Now, Baltimore's coming off a win on Sunday over the Buffalo Bills in a blowout. Joe Flacco had a big-time game. Their defense definitely stepped up, and Baltimore's looking to start the season with another big-time win. The only years I did the Cincinnati Bengals coming off a win over the Indianapolis Colts. Andy Dalton had a pretty solid game. Their running back Joe Mixon out of Oklahoma had a big-time game on the ground with a touchdown, I think over 100 yards. And Cincinnati's looking to once again beat the Baltimore Ravens. So coming from me in this first matchup on Thursday Night Football, man, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals. And now the Sunday slate, starting off at 10 a.m. here on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast, with an NFC South showdown featuring the Carolina Panthers heading to the Georgia Dome to face the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Carolina's coming off a big win over Dallas on Sunday. Cam Newton had a big-time game. Christian McCaffrey had a big-time game. Greg Olsen had a solid game. Carolina's looking to start a run back to the NFC South's #1 top division. The only other side, you have the Atlanta Falcons coming off a loss on Thursday Night Football to the Philadelphia Eagles, and Matty Ice turned into Matty Liquid because he melted under the pressure. He had a terrible game, and I felt bad for guys like Julio Jones, who had over 100 yards and over 100 yards receiving, and just Andrew Luck melting under the pressure. And it's not a great way to start the season for the Falcons. So coming from me in this NFC South showdown, Cam against Matt Ryan. This one's going to be a good one. Christian McCaffrey versus Devontae Freeman. Julio Jones versus some of those great receivers on Carolina's side. But I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons to rebound and bounce back and defeat the Carolina Panthers in a close matchup. And now the next matchup, it is the Indianapolis Colts heading to D.C. to face the Washington Redskins. Now the Indianapolis Colts are coming off a loss to the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. Andrew Luck had a pretty solid game in his return on the field for the first time in a couple years, but they just fell short against the Cincinnati Bengals. So they're looking to get back on the winning track. The only other side, you have the Washington Redskins coming off a big win over the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. Adrian Peterson had a monster game, and Alex Smith had an even bigger game for the Redskins. So the Redskins surprised a lot of people with that win on Sunday. So coming from me in this matchup, oh man, every time I pick for Indianapolis, they lose. I'm going to try it again, but if they lose this game, don't expect me to be picking them next week. But I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts to defeat the Washington Redskins. And now the next matchup. It is an AFC South showdown featuring the Houston Texans heading to Nashville to face the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Houston Texans are coming off a tough loss to my New England Patriots on Sunday, but they looked good. They nearly came back once again against my Patriots, but they just fell short. But Deshaun Watson had a pretty damn solid game. Even in a loss, he looked good, and they protected him, which was important. Then on the other side, you have the Tennessee Titans coming off a loss to the Miami Dolphins, and they lost a lot of big-time players in that game. We don't know what's happened with Marcus Mariota. They lost Delaney Walker for the year. They're tied in with a dislocated ankle and an associated fracture, so he's done for the season. And Tennessee doesn't look like they're going to be, and doesn't look like it's going to be a good year for the Titans this year. So coming from me, I'm taking Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans to defeat the Tennessee Titans. And now the next matchup, pitting the Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, heading to Tampa to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now the Philadelphia Eagles are coming off a big win on Thursday Night Football over the Atlanta Falcons. Nick Foles did struggle, that is for sure, but their offense got it done for him. Like Jay Ajayi had 2 touchdowns, and you already know Jay Ajayi from Boise State got it done, and their defense got it done, but they're looking to get another top-notch win. The only other side of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off the big upset in Week 1, defeating the New Orleans Saints with backup Ryan Fitzpatrick. And Fitzmagic was back again for the Buccaneers. He had 4 touchdowns. Who would have thought? The first game of the season for the Buccaneers, they nearly blow out the New Orleans Saints at the Superdome. Crazy. And this is also the second game they're not going to have Jameis Winston. And I'm thinking for the Bucs, you want to have him back if Fitzpatrick is having these kind of games? Look out. So coming from me in this matchup, this one's going to be good. This one's going to be good. Nick Foles definitely needs to rebound, and can Fitzmagic happen again 2 weeks in a row? So I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a close match. And now the next matchup, it is the Kansas City Chiefs heading to Heinz Field to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now the Kansas City Chiefs are coming off a huge win over the Los Angeles Chargers on Saturday with their star quarterback Patrick Mahomes II out of Texas Tech. He had a monster game. He had 4 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill had a big-time game as well. Their defense stepped up, but Patrick Mahomes II with 4 touchdowns in his first legitimate start for the Chiefs. And I'm looking at the Chiefs like, where was this? Where was this team? Where was this quarterback when it mattered in the playoffs? If they had this Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, they would have gotten past the Titans in the wild card game. Then on the other side, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off their tie. Yes, you heard me right. Their tie against the Cleveland Browns. And they did not look good. Ben Roethlisberger had 3 picks in that game, which was absolutely unacceptable. And with Le'Veon Bell not being at that game, and doesn't look like he's going to be there this week, their backup running back James Conner, I'm not talking John Conner, James Conner, who played at Pitt, had a monster game on the ground with 2 touchdowns. Antonio Brown, another 100-yard game. But tying with the Cleveland Browns is absolutely unacceptable. It screwed my record up for sure in Week 1. And Boswell missing the kick in overtime. Boswell, really? You know what happens when you miss a field goal that could have won your Steelers the game? You know what happens. And it's only Week 2.
You just made the list!
He had to make the list. Boswell is a terrible kicker. He's not clutch at all. And he had to make the list dangerously this week. So coming from me in this matchup, well, they're at home. Pittsburgh is at Heinz, and I think that's going to definitely help the Steelers out here. But do not count out the Chiefs in this, for sure. So coming from me, I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs in a close match. And now the next matchup, an AFC East showdown featuring the Miami Dolphins heading to East Rutherford to face the New York Jets. Now the Miami Dolphins are coming off a big win over the Tennessee Titans, and I know my subscribers, the Fins Federation and Eric Birch, are going to be happy their Dolphins got a win, so great job, guys. And they looked pretty good against Tennessee. Kenyon Drake had a big-time game. Ryan Tannehill had a great return back on the field for the first time in feels like 2 or 3 years. But Miami's starting off on a good note, and they're looking to continue the winning ways. Then on the other side of the New York Jets, coming off a blowout win tonight on Monday Night Football over the Detroit Lions. Sam Darnold had a game, and I was so happy to see that because he was the youngest starter in NFL history since 1970. That's saying a lot, and he had a great game in his starting debut with the Jets. And I think the Jets are going to have a great year with Sam Darnold running the show. So coming from me in this AFC East showdown. Oh man, this Jets team surprised the hell out of me tonight against the Lions, because I didn't expect their offense and their defense to step up. But I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins to defeat the New York Jets. Fins up. And now the next matchup, featuring the Los Angeles Chargers heading to Orchard Park to face the Buffalo Bills. Now, both these teams are coming off blowout losses on Sunday. The Chargers losing to the Chiefs, and the Bills getting absolutely destroyed by the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Chargers just did not look good. Phillip Rivers could have brought them back, but it was just too little too late. And the Chargers are looking to get back on the winning path. They're on the other side of the Buffalo Bills, who look like they're going to be just shit this season. They started Nathan Peterman. Why? He didn't do anything. And when they were down, they just put Josh Allen there to feed to the Wolves. And again, I feel bad for any Buffalo Bills fan that has to deal with this. That this season is just going to be just a miserable one for the Bills and Bills fans for sure. This continues. So coming from me in this matchup, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers to defeat the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills better start Josh Allen this week. And now the next matchup, a huge NFC North rivalry showdown featuring the Minnesota Vikings heading to Lambeau to face the Green Bay Packers. Now the Minnesota Vikings are coming off a big win at home over the San Francisco 49ers. Guess I was wrong. And Kirk Cousins had a fantastic debut with, I think, over 2 or 3 touchdowns in that game. Their defense looks like they're going to be a tough team to score against and throw against, because that defense was lights out for the Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook looked good. Stephon Diggs looked great. And this Minnesota Vikings team is going to be a tough team to handle, especially in the NFC. The only other side, the Green Bay Packers coming off a huge comeback win over the Chicago Bears on Sunday Night Football, and also the biggest scare of the season when Aaron Rodgers did get hurt in the first half. And almost every fantasy owner was about to just lose their mind. But he came back in the second half and brought the Packers back to win that game. Cannot say it was Aaron Rodgers did an Eric Reed, if you remember what he did for the Knicks. He got hurt, and then he came back and won the game for the Packers. And I know a lot of fantasy owners were sweating bullets when they heard that Aaron Rodgers got hurt. But clutch Rodgers striked again, and they came back from a 20-3 deficit to beat the Bears on Sunday Night Football. So coming from me in this NFC North rivalry showdown, now we don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to play this game because Mike McCarthy has not said anything, and we saw how Deshaun Kaiser did against the Bears. It was not pretty. So coming from me in this matchup, just because we don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to play, I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings to defeat the Green Bay Packers. And now the next matchup, featuring the Cleveland Browns heading to the Superdome to face the New Orleans Saints. Now the Cleveland Browns are coming off a tie, and I would say that's kind of a win for the Cleveland Browns, but it was a tie against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're coming off maybe their best game of the season, and it was not even a win, it was a tie. Tyrod Taylor had a big-time game, even though I want them to start Baker Mayfield. Their running game was great. Duke Johnson had a big-time game. Josh Flash Gordon had a big-time game, and their defense stepped up. And like I said, I think this Cleveland team is going to have at least 6 wins. I can feel it. If they keep Tyrod Taylor in, they can get some wins. But if they start Baker Mayfield, that's a different story. The only other side of the New Orleans Saints coming off their embarrassing loss at home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of people did not see that coming, including myself, who picked the Saints. And this is going to be the second game that they're not going to have Mark Ingram, so they're going to start with Alvin Kamara, who's going to be a fantasy pickup anywhere. And Drew Brees is looking to get some revenge, because losing to Tampa Bay to start the season is surprisingly shocking, especially for Drew Brees and the Saints. So coming from me, I'm going to take... Oh man, can Cleveland make this a contest like they did with Pittsburgh? I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints to defeat a very good Cleveland Browns team. And now the next matchup. It is the Detroit Lions heading to Santa Clara to face the San Francisco 49ers. Now the Detroit Lions are coming off a blowout loss at home on Monday Night Football tonight over the New York Jets. Matthew Stafford had his worst game. He had 3+ interceptions in that game, and their offense just stumbled against a rookie quarterback in Sam Darnold and the Jets tonight. It was just so surprising, and it looks like Detroit's not going to even be in the not going to even be in the conversation in the NFC North coming from me. Then on the other side, you have the San Francisco 49ers coming off a loss to the Minnesota Vikings, and that was Jimmy Garoppolo's or Jimmy G Money's first loss as a starting quarterback. So I guess that bubble just burst in a lot of people's opinion that, oh, Jimmy G Money was going to get a big win against Minnesota. Guess I was wrong. But they did look good, even though they lost to the Vikings. Garoppolo had his troubles. That's absolutely understandable. And they were playing a much better team in Minnesota. So coming from me in this matchup, after what I saw Detroit lay an egg on Monday Night Football, and I picked Detroit to win that game, I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers to defeat the Detroit Lions. And now the next matchup, it is an NFC West showdown featuring the Arizona Cardinals heading to the Coliseum to face the Los Angeles Rams. Now the Arizona Cardinals coming off a loss to the Washington Redskins on Sunday. They just did not look good, even though most of their offense was not really there. David Johnson did have a pretty game, even though they signed him for 3 more years. But Arizona is looking to be just not really anything relevant because Sam Bradford starting, just it's hard to trust for sure. And then on the other side, you have the Rams coming off a big win tonight on Monday Night Football over the Oakland Raiders, and the quest is on to once again win the NFC West for the second consecutive year. And the Rams, that offense with that defense is going to be damn near impossible to beat. So coming from me in this NFC West showdown, I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams once again to defeat the Arizona Cardinals. And now the next matchup. It is my New England Patriots heading to Jacksonville to face the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now this is the rematch of last year's AFC Championship game in which the New England Patriots beat the Jacksonville Jaguars to make it to Super Bowl 52. And this is the matchup Jacksonville wanted back. Now, my Patriots are coming off a big win over the Houston Texans on Sunday, but we did lose a key player at running back. We lost Jeremy Hill for the year with a torn ACL. So now the running game is consisting of James White, Rex Burkhead, and their draft pick in this year's NFL draft, Sony Michel. If you know him at Georgia, he was a great running back. And this is also the second game that we won't have Julian Edelman, but it sure didn't bother Tom Brady or Rob Gronkowski or Chris Hogan, brother. And their defense definitely stepped up. But the Patriots are looking good, but that loss with Jeremy Hill definitely hurts for sure. Then on the other side, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars coming off a win over the New York Giants on Sunday. And Leonard Fournette did get hurt, but they're saying it was like a mild hammy strain, so we don't know if he's going to be playing. And this is the game that Jalen Ramsey, if you remember, talked a lot of trash saying we're going to beat the Patriots, and he put his foot in his mouth and made the list of dangerously. So we're going to see if he can back up his talk of all the quarterbacks in the game. He proved against OBJ on Sunday, that's true. But let's see if we can do that against the reigning AFC champions. So coming from me in this rematch of last year's AFC championship game, oh, this one's tough. The biggest question, if Fournette plays, it helps the Jaguars. But coming from me, you already know. I'm taking my New England Patriots to defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars again. And now the next matchup, it is an AFC West showdown featuring the Oakland Raiders heading to Mile High to face the Denver Broncos. Now the Oakland Raiders are coming off a loss tonight to the Los Angeles Rams on Monday Night Football, so they're looking to rebound and bounce back. And then on the other side, you have the Denver Broncos coming off a huge win over my Seattle Seahawks at home. Case Keenum had a big-time game. Von Miller with 3 sacks, and surprisingly enough, they got a big win. So coming from me in this AFC West showdown, it's in Mile High. Gruden's first time back in Denver in a long time, which is going to be fun to see. So I'm going to go with John Gruden and the Oakland Raiders to defeat the Denver Broncos. And now the Sunday night matchup. It is an NFC East showdown featuring the New York Giants heading to Jerry World to face the Dallas Cowboys. Now the Giants are coming off a loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, but we saw their number 2 draft pick, Saquon Barkley out of Penn State, run that ball, and he had some big time gains in that game. He had over 100 yards and a touchdown. Odell Beckham Jr. had a pretty solid game. Eli as well, but just came in a losing effort. But this Giants team at the running game is picture perfect. The only other side, you have the Dallas Cowboys coming off a loss to the Carolina Panthers when they scored a measly 8 points. And even Des Bryant, their former wide receiver, ripped into their offensive coordinator with what kind of offense was, like, where was the offense? I mean, and you can just tell. This team is going to be so difficult to adapt without Dez, without Jason Witten. Yes, they have Dak and Zeke, but the receivers are not helping, and they are digging a grave bigger for Brad Garrett each and every loss. And it's getting deeper and deeper for him, and he's soon going to be SOL, and you know what that means. So coming from me on Sunday Night Football between these two NFC East rivals, man, I'm going to go with the New York Giants to defeat the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. And now the Monday night matchup pitting my Seattle Seahawks heading to Soldier Field to face the Chicago Bears. Now the Seattle Seahawks are coming off a tough, heartbreaking loss to the Denver Broncos on Sunday. Russell Wilson had another big-time game. Their running game is getting better with the addition of Rashad Penny. Earl Thomas is back with the Seahawks, the last Legion of Boom, if you want to put it like that. And their receiving game was good. Doug Baldwin did get hurt with a sprained MCL, so we don't know if he's going to be playing in this game. But Seattle is looking to get back on the winning track. Then on the other side, you have the Chicago Bears coming off their big collapse on Sunday Night Football over the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they had a 20-3 lead going into halftime, and Aaron Rodgers brought the Packers all the way back and to defeat the Bears by 1 point. Now, I'm just going to say it right now. Their defense was only Khalil Mack, the newest Bear, who was really doing all the work for the Bears defense in that game. And to have the Bears blow a 20-3 lead when Khalil Mack put his defense on his back and did most of the work, and to have them lose like that is just heartbreaking. And Mitchell Trubisky had a solid game going until they collapsed. But that defense of Chicago, a lot of people are saying, oh, this defense is great. They blew a 20-3 lead, folks. And Khalil Mack was the only star that came out of that game on defense. So, coming from me in this matchup on Monday Night Football, man, Mitchell Trubisky versus Russell Wilson. Jordan Howard versus Chris Carlson, C-Dub, and Rashad Penny. That defense against the Griffin brothers and Earl Thomas. This one's going to be a good one. But coming from me, I'm going to take my Seattle Seahawks to defeat the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football. And those are my Week 2 NFL predictions. I want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Comment below, who do you have winning in Week 2? Do you see any upsets coming up in this week? Let me know who you got winning. And as always, represent your NFL team in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about it. Of course, I'm always on to see your comment, like it, and of course, reply right back to because comments are absolutely always welcome on this channel. And I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video and all 5 of the videos I put up on the channel today. Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, before you guys go, you guys can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with friends. Of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. Of course, you can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button, become part of this bigger and dangerous alliance. And I will see you guys next week for 3 big videos. Later days, guys, and peace.